Hi, everybody. Janet Eichhorst here. Welcome. Today we're going to talk about community. We have, as humans, and I will say most of us, and I think all of us really deep down, have this need for this heart-to-heart connection with other people. We are living in a universe of unconditional love, and there have been so many things, so many conditions, so many circumstances, so many things that have happened that have really affected our ability to relate to each other in a positive, loving way. And deep down, we still have this need for community, of relating to other people because it's a built-in instinctual need. And we've gotten this so messed up that I think it would be helpful to spend some time talking about how we can have healthy communities and ways that we can relate to each other and check out how we can do that better and where we may not be doing it in a way that's healthy and in alignment with how we are really designed. So when we talk about two people, we all have energetic fields, right? And to me, the healthy dynamics, that whole thing about you complete me and all that hoo-hoo and, all those fairy tale things that I need somebody else to be whole. No. No, no, no. Right? A healthy relationship, in my opinion, and you could disagree with me, and if you do, that's cool too. I don't have a problem with that. But to me, a healthy relationship is two whole human beings that are interacting with each other from their pure heart. Now, we know we're human and we don't do this perfectly, right? That's just a given. And when we come back to that heart, even when we've stepped away from it, I'm talking about our divinity. I'm talking about that life force, God energy that flows through you as you. When we allow that to help us be the wholeness that we can be, and then when we relate to each other in that way, we don't get unhealthy dependencies. There's an interdependence. There's an ebb and a flow, and I hope that this recording comes through because we are having these amazing, right now, thunder in the background. Our monsoon season is here in Arizona, and I'm loving it, and I'm just hoping this recording comes out well, right? So, back to relationships, how we relate, how we can ebb and we can flow. We can assist somebody, love somebody without affecting our soul signature in a negative way. We don't give pieces of that away. We dance with people. So right now, let's just call your whole self back. That's the invitation, right? Call you back now. All of your parts and pieces that you may have given to somebody at some point in time for some reason. Let's not worry so much about the reason. Just call those parts back now. You have the power to do that. You have that power to do that. It's built in. There's divine law that says that we have authority over our sovereignty, right? Our life force energy. Whew, I got a little fired up there. Okay, so one hand on your heart if you're ready to do this. One hand on your belly if that feels right for you. And just breathe. And just I, as a sovereign being that I am, call back any parts or pieces that I don't have access to. And that's really what we're talking about here. We're always whole, really, really. And there's these conditions, energetics, where we lose access to our wholeness. This is the giant video game here we're playing on planet Earth, right? We've played around in separation, not being whole. Whew, all right, align. Just claim that for yourself. I am aligned, I am whole, I am sovereign. I am. So let's just talk about those relational dynamics a little bit. You know, I've been doing a lot of, I want to say, inventorying, right? I come from a 12-step kind of community where I'm used to looking at anything, any behaviors, any feelings where I feel uncomfortable, and I go deeper to see what's going on, right? You don't have to do that in a 12-step community, but that's just where I'm from, right? So I have this very real way of not focusing on that stuff too much, but paying attention when something's out of alignment. I can bring that back into alignment. So for yourself, just take a deep breath here. I'm a little distracted by the thunder in the background because it's very powerful and very strong right now, and is certainly affecting the energetics of our container here in a really beautiful way. That power, that electromagnetic power that happens when lightning strikes the earth and the thunder is very powerful. And that is another level of relationship that we have here is with our beloved Earth. I call her Gaia. That's just how I refer to her, but Mother Earth, right? And we, ideally, our bodies are made of her substance, right? And of stardust, right? And that's another level of relationship that I really value because I am her physically. I am sensitive to what happens in her body, and I can feel that reflected in mine most of the time. Beautiful. So healthy relationships. Do you have a mechanism, a way, when you have conflict with somebody? I know people that listen to this are on their spiritual journey, right? They're on their ascension journey. They're on their evolutionary path. And they do pay attention to how and what's working in their life and what isn't. So with your process of how you look at what you do to maintain that level of healthiness, in our society, there's so much codependency, looking outside of yourself, living from the outside in. There are those of us, and I include me in that category, where I have been kind of conditioned to be a caretaker, in an unhealthy way, versus an empowerment being, right, that supports people in becoming more of who they are. So for you, healthy relationships, what's out of alignment for you now? Is there anything? If not, fabulous. Just imagine yourself pure, clear, vital. A lot of times when I'm working with clients, or I'm just being present to myself, or meditating, or checking out my own field, I'll see that there's things in my field or in my body that don't belong there. They don't have my soul signature. Right? There's all kinds of people trying to tap in, and I don't judge these people. I really don't. What I know is that we all, as human beings, needing community, needing relationship, a relational dynamics with another, that's part of our instinctual needs. If people give up their access to pure source, so they can't find that life force connection within them, they end up wanting somebody else's energy. They're searching for that level of power somewhere because they don't have it. And here comes the rain. Beautiful. So when I'm working with a client or working with myself, I will see where I have allowed, I don't allow myself to be victimized by this, but I have allowed other energetics to come in here, and I found a lot of things feeding off of me. And I'm like, ooh, I don't like that, right? I want to have healthy dynamics, two whole people where, other people have their access to source and they know they are God, right? They don't need to try to tap in anywhere here within me because they've got their own connection, which we all do. We all have that. And people have forgotten, they've got conditioning in the way, they don't have access to it. And so they make grabs. They see my light or your light and they go for it, right? We say, no, this is what you can do. This is how we have healthy relationships. And there's those, sneaky little thoughts or beliefs or programs. Well, if I don't do this, then I won't have that relationship. No. If I'm taking care of myself, which means maintaining my field and knowing I'm here and other people there, and there's God in between us and all around us, really. But we don't have to get quantumly misentangled. We don't have to develop dependencies. And we don't want to, because that's not healthy. I want to have full-on experiences. Me here, you there, whoever over there, and all of us are showing up. And then this really cool thing happens. When we're all in that kind of really amazing heart space, we end up, stuff happens quantumly, and light gets amplified, and we're creating new stuff and new energetics. That's my direct experience. That's why I like hanging out, even in these conversations we're having, right? I feel the field that we're creating. Anybody that listens to this or watches this in the future, there's a field here because there is no time, right? There's a dynamic field. We're all connected, are that life force energy that moves through us as us. And when we are in this field, this beautiful field of unconditional love, amazing things can happen. Our ability to create, our ability to experience love. Oh, you guys might even hear that thunder. I hope this isn't distracting to you. It's really beautiful to me, and it's loud right now. Ooh, wow, the charges that are coming in. The field that we have here is so powerful, and it can shift and really dissolve, collapse the old dynamics that are not based in unconditional love, so that we are living in a different state. These old ways of relating to ourselves that have dependencies and conditioning and, beliefs and all that stuff is collapsing, dissolving, sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly, right? And that's happening. And then we end up being in a different state where the level of joy, love that we can experience is profound. I just had a beautiful experience of that. I was camping a few days ago, and I was up on the Mogollon Rim in Arizona, and man, you're standing on top of this mountain and you can just see forever, and it had just rained, and I was having that experience of the smell, ponderosa pine scent. Oh, it's just intoxicating, right? That's the kind of experience we have with each other too. When we're open-hearted and clear enough that we're not having relational dynamics that aren't in alignment, that get in our way. Heart to heart. It's like when you see somebody you love and you just run up and you give them a big hug and you just relax and you feel so good. That's the kind of experience I had when I was on the mountain just a few days ago. It's incredible. So healthy dynamics, what does that look like for you? Where can you have some improvement? I mean, a lot of what we would call inner child work, really coming to terms with the conditioning that we were exposed to when we first came into these bodies, right? And that stuff just happens here, right? It just happens. It'll happen until it doesn't, right? That's just how it works. And what we're doing is when we really get clear about who we are and the power that we hold, and we're cleaning up a lot of those beliefs, a lot of that conditioning, a lot of that stuff, it goes away, it collapses, it dissolves. And sometimes it's a more lengthy process, right? I'm under no illusion. I do single sessions with a lot of people that have profound movements, profound, that come out differently. And I'm under no illusion that that is one part of a bigger process that they're in. And in that one session, they might have completed this, or they might have done a big chunk of the process. And really, one of my great joys is taking people through that process with more than one session so that they can really come into being who they are on a level that they didn't even think was possible. Because we're talking about unconscious patterning, or conditioning. We all have it to some degree until we don't. And we in community, to have a healthy community, we learn how to stay with ourselves, say the things that we're uncomfortable with, talk about difficult things with other people without blame. Right? And sometimes we run into, whether it's any type of community or an intimate relationship, we run into deal breakers. I was just talking about this with somebody, where they didn't like it when their partner went off and did things with other people. And I'm like, that's a deal breaker. Right? My partnership, foundational requirement is that we get to have our whole and complete lives. And if my partner, which I don't have at the moment, if my partner goes off and wants to do something with somebody else and I get jealous, that's on me. Right? That's on me. Now, if my partner is doing things that aren't in alignment from my perspective and what our arrangement is in our relationship, that's a different story, and I speak up and there's a discussion there. And it would be a deal breaker if I can't be my full self in a relationship. And so people that wouldn't want to have that type of relationship with me, even with friends, I could do social things with them, but they're kind of out here. Those are not my people, right? My people, my community, the real ones, are the ones that want me to be the full me, as weird or as exciting or as cool as that is, right? The full me. And that's what I want for other people. And if I don't want that for other people, then I really check out what's going on with me. Because that's not cool. That's not in my value system. I want everybody to live their full life, right? Within the, acceptable things that we have determined in our society, where you're not coloring outside the lines and causing other people harm, right? We do have those boundaries that we've all pretty much decided you can't do certain things here, right? But other than that, man, live, right? So now we get to develop these communities, and I have a ton of them. And they're not like, there's just a lot of different groups of people that I hang out with and do stuff with, because I have a lot of interests. I really geek out on life, right? I really do enjoy a lot of different things. So do you have in your life the community, the relationships that you deserve? I want to say it that way. Right? We're wired here to have interactions with other people, to love and be loved. That's the joy of being human. And there's so many different aspects of that. So as we're coming up on our 20 minutes, I guess the invitation is, if you don't have the level of relationships that you want, if you don't have the communities that you feel good about, or you don't have the interactions that you feel good about, create them. You are a grand creator. And if you need to clean up some stuff in some relationships with people that you really like and want to get to be better friends with, I'd certainly encourage you to do that. There's risks. There's risks in relationship. And that's how we discover who our people are. Is because we try stuff, like not big stuff, hopefully. I mean, that's not my style. Maybe it's yours. I try things. I was like, ooh, no, not my people. Or, oh, let me try another thing in terms of being more intimate. So much love to you. I hope that you love and are loved in profound ways. Many blessings. Until next time. Bye-bye.